live.
Hi, Bill.
This is Les from Awesome Paint Job.
Yeah.
Les, I had heard something and I didn't understand the mechanics behind it. I had heard that the Spanish painters are so good that they typically have a guy that trains for bronze, silver, and gold, and they pretty much just walk away with it pretty consistently. But there's a different playing field over there. Les, how about you explain to us how that differs from here, Golden Demon here?
Well, if you look up Golden Demon in U.S. versus the guys in Spain, usually you see a big difference where you almost look at the guy who won bronze in Spain and say that guy would have got the Slayer sword in the U.S. And
right.
I came to find out that in Spain they're actually allowed to, or in the U.S. we have to do all the conversion work, all the basing, basically everything done on the model has to be us, one person. In Spain, they can have, I don't know how many people, but I know Arcis, which is my favorite painter from Spain, one of my favorite painters from Spain. He, I think last year he competed, and the model that he submitted, he did all the paint work. Another guy did the conversion. It was a Dread Knight. The other guy did a conversion, and then there was another guy who worked on the base, and that made more sense. Okay, we have three people that are
with
really good
three
at something.
different disciplines.
Right, all really good at what they do, all combined, so it makes for a very good thing. So me,
absolutely,
I have Van Hammer converting models for me. I'm painting it, and have another guy who's really good at doing basing. It would make my model a bit better because there's strong points that I have and some.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You're talking about different disciplines. I mean, you're talking people that have sculpting ability.
Right.
Doing what they do on your figure. That's, my God, that's crazy, incredible.
Right. So the playing field's a little bit different. I think with knowing that now, I think Germany would probably be the most competitive place. That in the UK, probably the two most competitive places to compete, because I believe they still have to do everything on their models with no help from anyone else.
So it changes from country to country?
Right.
Oh, you're kidding me. And there's so many countries there.
There is.
So that's crazy. Is there a lot of cross-nationality competition? Like, does Spain go to Germany?
Oh, yeah. You'll
check it out. Will you be in an interview?
Yes.
Yes. Awesome. I must talk with Les, but when I'm done, I want to talk to you.
I'm with Mom.
Awesome. So please continue, because a lot of this is news to me, and I don't think a lot of the general community really grasps how things are different in different parts of the world. Whereas someone with your background, you've got a lot more knowledge that you can reflect on and share with us.
I do a lot of reading, and I follow a lot of my favorite painters and things like that. And when I find out certain things, that are interesting, I share it with people. And
which is awesome. Not everybody does that.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about a guy that doesn't hide behind the two words "trade secret."
Right.
That's huge. Yeah, that's me too. If you want to know what I do, got 1,000 videos. You got a lot of stuff to sift through, but it's all there.
It's all there when you need it.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, it's pretty much. I mean, for that stuff, like especially like the demons and working on stuff, doing the research. If you go to, I think it's Demon Winner, it's a French site. They have the listings of everyone who's won the Golden Demons, and you look at Germany, and then they have flags next to the name of the person.
Oh, so you know where they were
from. They came from.
Sure.
Usually those guys over in Europe, Europe's not that big. They can take a train and go.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So you'll see a lot of Spanish guys come over to the UK Games Day. A lot of the best painters in the world come from Spain. Whether it's armor.
They are talented.
They are, and I think a lot of it has to do with. Probably growing up in a country that's so art I guess,
orientated?
Pretty much. I've been to Rome and I've walked around the city, and there's so much beautiful stuff to inspire you. And
right, it has an impression, and an impression from youth.
Right.
We have to go to these places, and usually we're an adult by then, and the brain is already they say a lot of the growth and a lot of the things that solidify who you are happen in those first 5 years.
Yeah.
So where you grow up really makes a massive impression on the rest of your life.
Right, when you're walking around the city and you see beautiful examples of artwork everywhere.
You know,
Becomes part
Baroque,
of you.
all that. Plus they have such a rich history, you know, and you can see things through the ages, how the style changed, and because the stuff stays for, you know, indefinitely,
Right.
you get to see that rich progression and mixture.
Definitely. I agree totally with that, and that's why I kind of want to be like, I have this dream about retiring in Rome and just being.
How cool would that be, huh?
And just doing what I want to do. So it's, I think it'd be really inspiring to be in a place like that, whether it was for artwork or music
Sure.
or anything like that. Just
The Renaissance never really died, you know, there, so to speak. So as long as I got you here, and since so many people are inspired by your work, one of the things that I love to say is give credit where credit's due. Who inspires you?
who inspires me? Well, I feel like the guys that are really good at painting are guys that have mastered everything. So whatever you can, when you look at a model and you imagine what it looks like, and you think, hey, I want to paint this cloak blue, or I want to paint it red, things like that, or I want the leather to look a certain way. These guys have done it so much that they've mastered every color, so they can transfer what's in their head pretty much
Directly
100%.
onto it.
Right. Where us, you know, a lot of us that are, you know, casually painting things like that, maybe you're not good at with blue blending and things
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
But you might be good at red. So maybe you're starting the blue and you're like, I don't like
My
it.
stonework is the best work I do, by far.
Right.
So grays are my strong.
Yeah, and it can, and people have those colors that they like to mess with. So maybe you're not good at blue, so then you change it, you compromise and say, well, I'm better at blending red, so you change the cloak to red. Or I want a really nice looking light suede leather look, not good at that, so we'll use the dark leather and things like that. So
And it might not match up with the other initial colors that you've got down.
not only that, but then you might make a model that someone's like, wow, it looks really good, but you're not completely happy with it because it's not originally what you envisioned, what you had.
Oh yeah, you've got that right. Being a drawer, I get an idea in my head and I draw it out. Very rarely is it close to my original thought process.
Right.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah. So, and I think what happens is that the better painters, they can transfer most of that. Because usually what's in your head is awesome, and if you can just practice enough to get good at putting, you know, what's in your head on that model,
Yeah.
then, you know, people will be impressed with it and you'll be happy with it too. So that's why artists are usually never completely happy with something, because they had it in their head and it didn't completely transfer over, and
Sure.
even though you think it's amazing, they're like, well, I don't like the green on there. And you're like, it looks fantastic.
I know, it's just not the way they were thinking. Okay, I'm going to change things up a little bit here.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on scale changing? Is it a big technique changer, or does it not matter quite so much?
I believe so. I think if you had a bust, a larger, like, you know, you have a larger face. For most of us, you know, we can get away with doing 3 colors on an Imperial Guard guy.
Sure.
Like that, you know, base coat, 1 highlight, a wash, a little bit of cleanup, not a big deal. When you have a big face on a bust, and you're...
There's a lot of subtleties to the muscle structure.
Right. There's cheek, and, you know, there's a lot more...
Natural shadows.
Right. It's a bigger surface, so it's been sculpted to have more detail. There might be crow's feet. There might be,
Yeah.
you know, eyelids, and we don't usually paint eyelids.
right.
And, yeah. So you're gonna have to be able to, if you do your traditional thing, it's gonna look like it's lacking. So you're gonna have
Right.
places to put more color. So instead of doing your 3 colors, maybe we'll bump it up to 10. Maybe
Sure.
we'll use oils. Things like that. So I think it changes it. Also, reverse. If you're trying to get brush control and trying to be really good at hitting small details, you might switch to a smaller scale, like Flames of War.
That's what I cut my teeth on, is 15 millimeter.
Right. And then when you go to 28 millimeter, you're like, this is huge. And everything else
Right,
is
exactly.
small.
But now you're picking up buttons,
Right.
where you weren't doing that before.
Right. You might
Kind of
not
like
do
your
that.
eyelash analogy.
Right. So it's pretty much yeah, that's what you can do. So it goes either way.
Do you ever like switch up scales to sharpen your skills, like go to a smaller model before you go to like a competition model, just to get your line and your control work up that higher level?
Yeah, definitely do that. I'll practice on. I have garbage models that I have there just for doing practice techniques on before I use the stuff on my competition models. So I have a bunch of those ugly models sitting off the desk that might have a brown shoulder pad because I was trying a new technique, or colors that I wasn't familiar with that I didn't use.
How am I going to layer this?
Right, in theory I'm like, this should work, but I don't want to test it on this model and find out it doesn't work.
Right, because then it's there. Exactly. Speaking of like how much time you spent on it, do you oh, that's right, Van Hammer does your, so you don't do like mold lines and stuff like that anymore. He takes care of that, I'm assuming?
He builds stuff now.
Okay, so you don't deal with mold lines or any of that stuff?
No, because I'm very tedious.
Oh, it is a tedious job.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it.
I usually spend more time building models and cleaning them than I do actually painting.
Nice to see you.
Well, there's a lot to be done. When you're working at the levels that you work at, like me personally, I don't worry about mold lines, but the thing is it's for me.
Right.
So it's not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know.
Cleaning that stuff for commission stuff, I mean, it's pretty much the standard thing. And plus, when people are you're gonna take pictures of your models. You wanna.
Oh, if you're gonna take pictures, absolutely.
You're selling stuff online. People don't get to see it in person. You want it to represent your
best
model
work
as best as possible. So
absolutely.
If there's a mold line there, and you plan on doing a wash. Washes love to highlight those mold lines.
Oh,
so,
I hear you. I hear you, loud and clear.
You got a mold line? Primer does that too. You think you got.
Or dry brushing.
You prime
it comes out of nowhere. Yeah. Dry brushing. The thing about dry brushing is it's like someone has those 3 switch lights and they just keep turning it brighter and brighter each time you do it. So any imperfection, you know, you kick up that light intensity, same kind of thing.
Right.
Cool. What advice would you give to budding painters?
Thin your paint.
Thin your paint.
Thin your paint and get used to how it works, because if you paint from the pot, the paint reacts a lot differently than when it's thin. And thin paint is how you don't get brush strokes. And it's also a way to, if you make a mistake, it's thinner paint, so it's easier to fix than like straight black paint right from the pot. If you make a mistake with that, it's going to be really hard to remedy that without doing a lot of cleanup. So
cool. Well, thank you so much, Les.
Yeah,
this has been really educational for me, and it's been way too long a time of coming. So
yeah, but it happened, and you're going to be at Gen Con.
You know it. You know it. I'm going to go from years of never seeing it to twice in 1 year.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. That's awesome. We need to do that. Thank you so much.